Hi there, my name is Nicole and welcome to today's free workshop slash webinar slash training. This is Marketing Magic for Bloggers, and we are going to be breaking down marketing to define your online presence and ultimately convert your current ideal audience into your ideal client or customer. So I just want to jump on here before I share my screen and let you know there is a person behind these slides because I won't be sharing most of my face most of the time. I'm going to be sharing a lot of information. So make sure that you grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab some water, grab some snacks, whatever you need to get ready and to just turn off all distractions. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and stop sharing my face. And I'm going to give a couple minutes to let everybody join in. And if you do join in, just make sure that you mute yourself. That way there's no extra noises going on. Looks like we've got one person here. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes and let everyone else join in and then make sure everybody's muted. If for some reason during this training you can't hear me, please let me know, or if the video gets kind of staticky and stops. I don't have really great internet out here in the country, so just let me know in the chat box if you experience any issues so I can get those resolved. If you're now just joining us in the webinar, go ahead and introduce yourself in the group chat. If you can find that, just give me a 1 if you know who I am and you've taken a webinar with me before, or put a 2 if you don't know who I am and you haven't taken a webinar with me before. I'm excited to see who all is going to be joining us today. I know it's kind of a weird time to be doing a webinar, but with my current schedule, this is what works best for me. And of course, I always do replays. So I just love it when I can have people actually interact with me live. It's so much fun. So I'm going to see if I can go ahead and just put this into full screen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If anybody joins within the next few minutes and you're already in here, just let the other members know. They can go ahead and introduce themselves in the chat and to just let me know if you experience any problems like I was saying. So this is the Marketing Magic webinar and the only marketing strategy you're going to need to define your online presence. Before we get started, of course, I want to introduce you guys to me. My name is Nicole, and I'm the owner and creator of The Daily Pursuit, a personal development blog for bloggers. Basically, if you feel like society has already told you that you need to do something certain with your life, or you feel like you should be doing something else, and you're trying to find your life's purpose, this is where I was at, and blogging has brought me to where I am today. So basically, my mission is to help you excuse me, take your dreams of starting a monetized blog or an online business into action. I don't believe in cookie cutter modules, methods, or strategies. Instead, I believe in authenticity and doing everything with ease. Basically, I believe your business should feel good and be simple so you can spend more time doing more of what you love and less time actually working during the week. And before we get started, I just want to let you guys know, if for some reason you hear this random pause, it's probably because I'm taking a drink of water. So you're probably here because you've tried just about everything to increase your online presence. You're probably feeling stuck in your page views. You might feel like your engagement's really low. And basically you want to focus more time towards creating content or graphic design or interacting with your community so you don't even think about marketing yourself, but you still see no engagement in your content or an increase in your page views. Basically, you feel like you're constantly giving and giving in the blogging universe, and you're not seeing any conversion. You've probably enrolled in a million courses, a million free webinars, and opt-ins, but they're all redundant. They're giving you the same information and not giving you actionable strategies to take you from where you are currently to where you deserve to be and where you need to be in order to experience that online presence and engagement that you deserve. So here's the good news. I have a lot of my community members tell me they want to increase their page views and their engagement, but they just simply don't have the time. So I'm here to tell you this used to be me. I used to think I had to spend all this time, energy, and money towards increasing my presence that I just got super burnt out. So it's a lot easier than you think to increase your online presence and engagement. And in fact, it needs to be easy for you. So it wasn't until I changed my mindset and perspective towards blogging that today I can sit here and tell you that your marketing strategies that you're currently using aren't working. So before we begin into the heart and core of this training, again, I just want to remind you guys to turn off any distractions. I'll give you a minute or two to grab a pen or a notebook, or if you're typing on your computer or your notes, whichever works best for you, and to grab some snacks and a drink. That way we can just go through this all at it and make sure that we get the most out of this. I also want to remind you that you're going to want to stick around till the end of the webinar. I am offering a 14-page PDF swipe file you can steal from me, and it basically covers everything we're talking about today, and I'll go into more detail about what all it looks like and how you can benefit from that. So just stick around and make sure that you can grab that towards the end of the webinar. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is why your current marketing strategies just haven't been working for you. So there's several reasons that it might not work currently for you or why it hasn't worked in the past. So there are a million things out there, but maybe you've left no room for flexibility, meaning you're probably doing the same thing over and over and you're not allowing your strategies to evolve. So with anything in the blogging universe, especially anything online, you need to allow flexibility to allow things to evolve and grow as you do. So your marketing strategy is no different. There needs to be flexibility, meaning you need to make sure that you are reassessing whether or not these strategies are going to work for you time and time again. Another reason it might not be working for you is because your messaging isn't targeted enough. You need to target a specific audience. Otherwise, your messaging is actually reaching no one and can be really confusing. You want to be clear on exactly what it is your messaging is. There needs to be purpose and there needs to be intent behind it. So sometimes it's really easy for us, especially as bloggers, when we're not sure exactly what our mission or purpose is, to have mixed messaging being sent out. And a lot of the times it's not intentional, but it's something that we can always correct and identify. That way, moving forward, we have messaging that's actually going to go out to our ideal audience. You don't have a strategy put in place, so you might not even have any kind of marketing strategy. And you might just be, sharing your post here and there, like on Facebook or using Pinterest, but you don't have a clearly defined method as to how you use that. You might be changing how you pin or how you share your blog post over and over. So there's no defined way as to how you're marketing yourself. You might be putting all your eggs in one basket. So you're not diversifying your promotional messages. And again, you need to be flexible in that. And lastly, the biggest mistake I see, and I think we're all guilty of this, so raise your hand if you have done this, because I used to be like this a year ago, and that was expecting results overnight, immediately. It's so easy for ourselves to get caught in comparison, saying, oh, this person was able to do this overnight and got 10,000 page views. Why am I not seeing the same thing? Well, as cheesy as it is, Rome isn't built in a night. you really need to understand that building a strong brand, building a strong brand message and your online presence is going to take time. You need to nurture and care for it. It's kind of like a plant. And this is a bad analogy because I'm infamous for killing my plants, but it's like a plant. You want to continuously nurture it and allow it to grow, and it's not going to grow overnight. So you need to be patient, slow down, and just focus on the journey is one of my biggest tips when it comes to building your blog and wanting to see it grow over time, is to just enjoy the journey of where you're currently at, because I know that eventually you are going to get to be where you want to be. So now that I've given you a couple reasons and you've probably related with a few of those reasons, am I right, on why your current marketing strategies aren't working, let's talk about how we can get the right traffic to your blog. So we're actually going to discuss this a little bit more in detail towards the latter end of the webinar, but a huge reason you might not be seeing any conversions, and when I talk about conversions, I mean taking your ideal reader into a customer or client is like the ultimate conversion, right? Or just having that ideal reader actually visit your blog. And the reason you might not be seeing these conversions is because, again, you're not targeting a specific audience. So the question is, how can I target a specific audience, or how do I get the right traffic to my blog? So since you might be reaching the wrong audience, your messaging might not be entirely clear, it's time to kind of go back to square one and reevaluate exactly who you serve. This is such an important aspect of your blog, is understanding who you're messaging to, who you're serving. And the best practice to do is creating an ideal reader persona or avatar, whatever you want to call it. And I know most of you have probably done this exercise before, but basically you want to know anything and everything about who your ideal reader is, the person that's going to come to your blog and take in your information. And there are tons of resources out there, and like I said, most of you have probably already done this exercise, and it can be redundant, but it's so important to just sit down and make yourself get it done, have this ideal reader avatar that you can access over and over again. And I actually have a business plan that I offer to my Facebook community, the Aspiring Creatives, where the first section of this business plan is actually writing down, like having a go-to place for your 2 ideal reader avatars. That way you can come back to them and adjust them as needed, because again, like I said, anything in your blog, especially online, is going to evolve. So is your ideal reader. So him or her, whoever your ideal reader is, mine, she has changed over time based on my mission and my targeted messaging and my brand messaging. It's always kind of constantly evolving, but she's kind of always had like the same aspects and characteristics about her. But because I have these 2 ideal readers, I know exactly who I'm trying to reach. And once I know exactly this person I'm trying to reach, who they are, then can I start attracting them to my blog, to my Instagram account, to my online community on Facebook, so that I can continue to serve them on a deeper level and create these relationships online that are ultimately going to either just be a really great like-minded female aspiring creative relationship, potentially be a customer, and ultimately become a client, so that I can help her turn her dreams into the concrete action that I know I can help her do. So the point of all of this is you need to have an ideal reader. And that PDF that I'm giving you towards the end, the freebie, there is a spot where you're going to write down your ideal reader. So you don't have to sit down and write down who that is right now. You're going to be able to do that in the end once you download your guidebook. So now we're going to talk about the secret. And you guys, it's not really a secret. It's basically what changed for me and how I started to see an increase in my online presence and engagement, which ultimately led me to signing my first client for my coaching program and developing a really strong online community. So here I just want to kind of demonstrate to you guys, this was a while back, but this was like the biggest change in percentage I've seen overall through my Google Analytics that I wanted to demonstrate to you. So as you can see, the left screenshot was in March, and I had around like 6,000 page views, and a month later, I got 10,000, a little over 10,000. You guys, this was huge for me. And I know a lot of people are like, I've already hit that. That's fine. But this was like a really big change for me. And so I sat down and I really had to evaluate like which strategies, quote unquote strategies, had allowed me to see this big of an increase and allows me to continuously see the same or more page views per month. And again, we all define success in a different way. So I don't want to necessarily put in your mind that page views is the ultimate way to define your success. While it's a big part to our blogs, it's not the only way you can define success, okay? And I'm going to actually talk about success a little bit more. And you're probably wondering at this point, I thought we were talking about marketing. Well, I'm going to get into that. So, like I said, this isn't a huge secret, but something we aren't really taught to think of when we think of marketing or increasing our online presence. And the secret, quote unquote secret, that I'm talking about today is content marketing and storytelling. So again, I'm going to explain this in more detail so that you understand where I'm coming from in terms of marketing. So traditional marketing methods do not work anymore. What we were taught doesn't work in terms of marketing. No one-step approach or formula you're going to find online actually works because it's not tailored to who you are. So you sitting there right now behind your laptop or your phone, you and I might be like-minded and similar people, but there's no way we should treat our blogs the same way because we're at different points in our lives, as far as like personal lives and then our businesses. And I just don't believe that anything needs to be a one-size-fits-all approach. It needs to be individually tailored to who we are, to our goals and to our branding and to our messaging. So content marketing is crafting and providing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract your ideal audience. So basically, if your readers are able to find your content valuable, they're more likely going to continue to follow you. So follow you in your blog or your social media account or both. Comment and engage on your post, your blog post, your Instagram post. Join your email list and sign up for free opt-ins and convert into a client or a customer. So these are just a few of the things that having amazing, valuable, kick-ass content is going to do for you, because the more value you're offering these ideal readers, the more they're going to continue to come back for more, and they're going to want to join your email list, and they're going to sign up for all your freebies, and you're going to lead them down your sales funnel, and you're going to have them actually book a session with you. And that's something you've probably been longing for so long. And you guys, I think a lot of us think, okay, we need to reevaluate like our Pinterest strategy or how we're promoting. And that's just a tiny bit of marketing. The bread and butter of your marketing needs to be your content. So let's talk about your actual content and why your current content actually might not be converting. So one of the reasons is you're writing about the same topics, maybe in the same manner. And so what I mean by that is instead you want to write from a different perspective. Let's be honest, everything under the moon has already been written about. And so it takes us putting a unique spin or perspective on that same topic to stand out and differentiate ourselves. So really think about your unique experiences, your knowledge, and your expertise to go about writing fresh content that's maybe already been talked about, but maybe not talked about in the manner or way that you're going to present it. Another reason is your writing isn't resonating with your ideal readers. So you might have created an ideal reader avatar, but the topics you're writing about maybe have nothing to do with them. So for instance, I'm a personal development blogger, like I stated, for the aspiring female creative. It really wouldn't make much sense for me to suddenly create a blog post about my natural skincare routine that I just started, because while it might serve someone else, it's actually not being super specific or solving a problem for my actual ideal client or my ideal reader. My ideal reader the aspiring female creative, she struggles internally with wanting to do something that everyone else thinks is silly. She questions herself. She doesn't yet have the confidence to start a blog or an online business, but she has all these amazing ideas. So while she might be a fanatic of starting natural skincare, it's not necessarily serving her on a more deeper level. And lastly, we kind of touched base on this, your writing might not be clear. So every time you create content, whether that's a blog post or an Instagram post, you need to have intent and purpose. And there's this question you should always ask yourself, and that is, exactly how am I serving my reader? And I'm going to ask this again to you. How are you serving your reader? Think about this question every time you sit down to write a blog post or a post on Instagram. And that's just going to make you question, okay, am I being purposeful about this content? Is this clear on what I'm trying to say to my reader? So I really love this, and it is a content marketing strategy, is a roadmap to attracting your ideal audience. How powerful is that, guys? And when we think about it as a whole, like your entire marketing system or whatever you want to call it, it's literally leading to your ideal audience. And if we think about the content market strategy that we're talking about today as the secret to marketing, think about the entire customer or ideal reader journey you're taking your readers on. And I'm actually going to walk you guys through your ideal reader customer journey in the PDF that I'm going to share with you guys really close to the end of this, but I'm really excited to share it with you because if you can see it visually, it makes so much more sense in my head personally for me. And I think it's really going to aid you in understanding where you're leading your audience and how to market yourself through content. So again, I'm going to walk you through this again after this in the actual PDF that you're getting. So these are just basic steps to creating your own content marketing strategy. So what I like about this is you can tailor it to who you are. It's really basic. It's not telling you this is what you have to do or this is the only strategy that's going to get you traffic, but this is what's going to create killer content, valuable content so that you can understand your audience a little better and understand what kind of content you want to create that creates that value for them. So the first step is why, and it's more like a question, right? So what's the purpose behind your content? Again, there needs to be that clear intent and purpose, and you want to ask yourself, how am I going to measure success? Is it going to be in the number of signups for a webinar? Is it going to be the engagement on your Instagram post? You want to be specific and you want to identify what your reason is. So what's your goal behind your content? Is it to, get more people on your email list? Is it to grow your Facebook community? Whichever it is, just have that clear goal in mind that allows you to move forward in your content marketing strategy. Secondly, you want to understand your audience. Again, you know who your ideal reader is, you know their pain points, and you know how your knowledge and expertise is going to serve them on a much deeper level. So basically, you're trying to bridge that gap between what they don't know is out there, which is your content, and how it's going to serve them. The next step, which is pretty self-explanatory, is to produce that killer content. So now that you know why and who, you want to know how you're going to produce and provide your content. So most likely the meat of your content is always going to be on your blog post, but think about how you can use like Instagram feed or Instagram post as a mini blog post to lead into your blog post to send your ideal audience over to your blog from your Instagram. And of course, the last step is to actually promote yourself. And so what I was saying earlier is a lot of us think of marketing in terms of only promotional methods, right? The sharing on Pinterest, the promoting your blog post on email campaigns. That's just a small portion of your actual marketing, or should be a small portion. You want to focus heavily on the content. And then from there, you can start promoting with ease because your content's already great. It's already serving so many people. So now you just have to create 3 strategies to promote yourself. So there's different ways you can promote yourself, and a lot of us already know these, and that would be to have social share widgets on your blog post page, provide a really pretty pin that people can share to Pinterest, having a really strong Pinterest account, business account, creating graphics for Instagram stories, sharing it on Instagram stories, sharing to Facebook groups and promotional threads, those kinds of things. So my biggest advice when it comes to the promotional side of your marketing is to focus heavily on 3 strategies. For example, me, I use Pinterest and I automate it with Tailwind. I promote on Instagram stories and Facebook groups. That's it. I don't use Twitter anymore. I don't like to spread myself too thin, and I think that's a mistake I see a lot of people doing, is trying to share on too many platforms. Just consistently use 3 platforms to share on, and then at the end of the month, just reassess whether or not those methods you've been using are actually helping you or if they're hurting you. So that's what I mean when I say that your strategy needs to be flexible and evolve. You always want to typically towards the end of the month do like a little audit of your promotional methods to see whether or not what you're currently doing is actually working and if you need to readjust. So the last part of this that I want to talk about is storytelling, and this ties into the content marketing strategy and creating content, but more or less is really about creating a strong personal brand. People are naturally hardwired to listen to stories and relate to them because stories stick. People are more likely going to relate to you if you have a story that they can relate on. So having a strong story actually helps differentiate who you are from others in your industry or your niche. So if you're a food blogger, or you're a mom blogger, or you're a business blogger, there's millions of everyone out there, but what's going to set you up from everyone else is having a really strong story that sticks and that we can remember you by. And a lot of people tell me they don't have a story. And the thing about having a story is somehow you got to where you're at, whether or not you've been blogging for a year, or you just started blogging, or you blogged for 2 months. It doesn't matter how long. And what matters is how did you get to where you are today, and where were you maybe a year ago? And creating this story and having an authentic story is going to allow you to connect deeper with your audience. In turn, creating that trust that they're continuously going to come back to you, to your Instagram, to your blog, to your email list for more information. And telling your story is, I believe, the best way to sell yourself, so to speak, because like I said, stories stick. People are always relating to stories. And as I said, you want to be authentic when you create your story or when you sit down and create your brand messaging and your story, because again, you don't want to shoot for the moon and be over exaggerative about your story. It doesn't have to be some far-fetched thing or super dramatic. It can be so simple, yet a bunch of people are going to relate with that. And the biggest thing I want to ask you in terms of storytelling and who you are and your brand is ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? And once I finally asked myself this question, I said, I want to be known as a girl, I want to be known as a girl who creates strong communities and connects with her audience on a deeper level. I am all about connection, that connectivity online, and building a community. There's nothing better to me than connecting one-on-one with like-minded women and aspiring female women, to be specific. So I really want you to think about this question and just kind of ponder it and think about this. And you don't have to know right away, but in your guidebook, of course, I am breaking down this question for you so you can create your story, so you can create a strong personal brand. And I think this question is so powerful and empowering because once we start to ask ourselves, what do I want to be known for? You can start to create this really strong essence through your blog and your social media that's going to allow you to continue to just attract that ideal audience that you're looking for. Okay, so I know we've covered a lot in like a short amount of time. Again, this is all being broken down for you in the PDF you're getting. So here's a couple, or the things that we've learned, not a couple, what all we've learned today. And that's why your current marketing strategies aren't working, how to get the right traffic to your blog, and the secret to magical marketing. And it's not really a secret, right? Something we have all known, we just had to put a different mindset perspective on it. So you're probably wondering, what happens now? Well, I don't want you to forget to grab the workbook, and I actually want to show you what that looks like first. So, oops. This is what the guidebook looks like. It's a PDF download. It's 14 pages. And this is the roadmap that I'm talking about down here for your ideal reader journey. This is the roadmap, and I break it down for you. You create your ideal audience here. I actually give you access to another freebie. You get to define your story for me and build your content marketing strategy. So I am giving this to you, of course. But before you leave, I have a question to ask you. Are you finally ready to focus on your presence? Because I think it's time that you get serious about your brand and messaging. That way you craft that really strong online presence so you get to focus on your business and actually profit from it. So I know a lot of you think of online presence in terms of monetizing your blog, which is huge, but again, you're feeling stuck. So this is my offer to you. If you're ready to get serious, I'm going to give you 20 minutes from the time this is over to book a one-on-one strategy session with me, where I personally walk you through crafting your personal brand story and developing effective strategies towards promoting your business, so we can set you up for multiple streams of income and set you up so you can convert readers into actual customers or clients. But this is not a forever offer. This is actually something I'm not going to be offering for probably not in the future. So basically I have strategy sessions and I have coaching. I'm going to not do strategy sessions anymore, but I'm offering it to you today within the next 20 minutes if you book with me for a limited time. And it's only going to be $97 when I originally have this price at $150. So what you're going to get out of this is a 60-minute session where you and I are sitting face-to-face like this, and you get to tell me about your goals, your blocks, and you're going to get my insight and knowledge on how we can turn your wishes, your wishes and your dreams into actual action. So I'm going to break everything down to you and give you the resources you need so you can start profiting from your passion, because I really believe that you deserve that. So if you're one that's like, I'm ready for this, then here you go. I'm going to put this in the comments. And like I said, you are going to have 20 minutes to register for this. Otherwise, I will no longer be offering this. But before we leave, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm so happy that you're here and joined me for this. If you have any questions regarding the training itself, or you just have some comments for me, please feel free to contact me through my email, my website, or my social media. And don't forget to grab that free download.